Okay, so correcting the homework. Question 4B and C seem to be the only two that we had issues with. Okay, so we're looking for these two angles, A and B, and we know these two lengths, 80 and 100. Okay, now we can go for A or B first. Okay, so we'll start with A. Now, if we look at A, we have the opposite of 80 and the hypotenuse of 100. So that means I'm going to use sine. So sine A is 80 over 100. Okay, now this will simplify down to 4/5, 8 over 10 or 4/5 if you like. Now, so then I go sine inverse of 80 over 100 or 4/5 equals A. Calculator. Shift sine for sine inverse, fraction 80 over 100, close the bracket, and it's 53.13 degrees is A. Okay, now we then want to find B. I have two options for finding B now. I can say, because this is 90 degrees, and all three, A and B and 90, have to make 180, that means that A plus B has to equal 90 degrees also, because of the right angle here. So then I can say B is 90 minus angle A, so 90 minus 53.13. So, or it might be the nearest angle. I haven't got the question in front of me. Let's say it's to the nearest angle, then it's going to be 90 take away 53, which is 37. The other option for finding B is using trigonometry. So if I look at angle B here, 80 now, instead of being the opposite of A, it's the adjacent of B. 100 is still the hypotenuse, so if I have adjacent, that's cosine. So I could go, I'll just do it quickly here. Cosine B is 80 over 100. So the inverse of cosine of 80 over 100. Shift cosine 80 over 100 is 36.86, or our 37. Okay, so either way there. Okay, so for C, again, two options. Well, I have to use sine, cosine, or tan for A or B first. So if I start with A, you could start with B, but sure, I'll start with A. A, I have adjacent and hypotenuse. So cosine A is 86 over 100. So then I'm going to do the inverse of cosine of 86 over 100 equals angle A. Shift cosine 86 over 100. 30.68. Okay, 30.68. And then again, let's say I want the question from me. Imagine just to the nearest degree, it'd be 31 degrees if I asked to the nearest degree. Then again, angle A and B have to equal 90 degrees because it's a right angle triangle. So that means B is 90 take away angle A. 90 take away 31 is 59 degrees. Again, you could go back and do B using sine 86 over 100. Okay. Now, moving on now to problem solving. Now you have to excuse the terrible drawing. Let's say we have a building and we want to know its height. Okay? Well, if I can work out what we call this, the angle of elevation, okay, the angle of elevation from the ground, so this is being measured from the ground, the angle of elevation from the ground. All I need to work out is my distance. Now you can imagine if I go closer, so if I was to go here, that would give you a bigger angle, so I'd have a smaller distance, but it'd still work. So we walk a certain distance away from the building. We use an object called a clinometer to look to the top of the building and measure the angle. Okay, now the building here in our triangle is the opposite, and again in all these problems you're going to draw the triangle, so you wouldn't have to draw the building, you could simply just draw this triangle. That's the opposite. The adjacent is 75 and the angle is 50 degrees. So that means I'm going to use tan, because I don't have the hypotenuse, and because the building is obviously at a right angle to the ground, I don't have the hypotenuse. So tan of 50 degrees equals the height of the building, or we'll call it the opposite, whatever you like to call it, opposite over the adjacent 75. So the opposite, or the multiply across by 75 as usual, so 75 times tan 50 equals the opposite, which is our height of our building. So 75 times tan of 50 is 89.38. So we'll call it height now. So the height is 89.38 meters. Okay. Now, the only slight variance in this question is sometimes in our triangle we might have a person and they're looking at the angle at eye level of the height of the building. Okay, so what we'll have to do then is you'll have this angle, you'll have this distance here to the building, but you'll only be able to find this height here using the triangle. So what you'll have to do is add on the height of the person afterwards. Okay, so there's one or two questions like that. So in the book 1, which I submitted, questions 1, 3, 5, and then all of 6 to 9, so 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, when you've completed those, go to your own higher level book 2 and do questions 8 and 9. There are plenty before 8 and 9 if you want to try them as well. They're slightly more difficult versions of what we've been doing recently. Okay.